connect. So I'm fascinated by the conversation that's happening here. I see the tremendous importance of this. And in Kenya, we're very self-critical. We're always looking at issues like corruption and how they act as a brake on the system. We have no shortage of talent, incredibly talented people here with great business ideas, but they can't advance them because of the brakes that are put on those ideas by people who want to just benefit without having participated in creating whatever enterprise that you have set up. So ethics is right at the heart of development in Africa. If we can work on that, then I think we could really accelerate our development. So this is a conversation we're very, very happy to participate in and privileged to participate in. So thank you very much, Stanford and California Polytechnic State University and all the people who are here joining us with Strathmore in this conversation. I wish you all great deliberation. I really look forward to seeing what you come up with. And that briefly is all I had to say. So all the very best in this conversation.
Thank you so much, Vincent, and thank you so much for the partnership and collaboration with Strathmore. We will go directly to a welcome remark from the U.S. Ambassador to Kenya, Mrs. Meg Whitman, who is well known as Strathmore and all over the world, also from her very strong business background as the CEO of very large tech companies, including HP and eBay for many years. So certainly a background. We are very grateful that Mrs. Whitman will address the convention or the convening.
Good evening, and thank you, Strathmore University, for hosting this global conversation. And thank you to the organizers for the invitation to speak. And most of all, thank you to the Gaia scholars, including 3 from right here in Kenya, for your important work. You know, whenever I talk about advanced or emerging technologies, I like to pause to remember that every generation has its own emerging technologies, whether it be automobiles, airplanes, or artificial intelligence. What is new changes over time. But one thing that doesn't change is the need to think critically about how we engage and use new technologies. That is the core of digital leadership. I probably don't need to tell this audience that emerging technologies like AI are very powerful tools that carry both significant risk and immense promise. The differentiator between risk and promise lies in the hands of developers and users. When I was the CEO of eBay, e-commerce was the disruptive technology. In the early 2000s, eBay was the biggest marketplace in the world, with more daily trading volume than the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ combined. We literally had hundreds of thousands of items being listed every second, and that meant we could sell anything. We could, but the question I had to ask was, should we? When I started at eBay, our policy was that we would sell anything that was legal in the country where the transaction took place. That was great. Until it wasn't. In the United States, I don't know how many of you know this, it is perfectly legal to sell Nazi memorabilia. So we faced the ethical question, should we? Some of my advisors said, this is hate, we must draw a line and say no. Other advisors said, this is a slippery slope. If we ban certain items, who decides where we stop? In the end, it was my judgment call. During the discussion, one of my board members said to me, Meg, what kind of company do you want to run? What is the character of the company? And that made the answer easy. I said, no, I don't want to run a company that sold Nazi memorabilia. Being asked that simple question guided me through numerous ethical questions around emerging technology. When it came to illegally pirated software, a U.S. law called the Digital Millennium Copyright Act said that if we policed our own website, then we could be held liable for anything that appeared on the website or slipped through the cracks. But if we didn't police our site, then we weren't liable. The incentive was to look the other way. Again, the question was, what kind of company did I want to run? The answer was clear. We had to monitor our own site, even if the business incentives were backward. The law is the minimum standard of ethics. Digital leaders must go further. We all need to ask ourselves, what kind of company or organization do you want to run? What kind of researcher do you want to be? What kind of society do you want to live in? Do we all want to live in? So emerging technologies like AI can be powerful forces of good if we ask the right questions and hold ourselves to high standards. At the U.S. Embassy here in Kenya, equity and inclusion are high priorities for us. We want economic growth and technological development in Kenya, one of the most promising markets in the world. But that growth and development is only sustainable if it's equitable and inclusive. That's the kind of world I want to be part of, and that is why your work is so important. So thank you for your insights and your leadership. I wish you the best as you take the knowledge and relationships developed in your Gaia cohort out into the world of industry and academia. Thank you very much, and thank you for what you will do for the world.